twice as fast. Yeah, the guy in the ring is your enemy, but if all you're trying to do is kill him, then you expose yourself. You leave yourself vulnerable. Gotta protect yourself. Make his mistakes be his destruction.
For me, I was more miserable trying to make everyone else happy than I am now with everyone else unhappy with me. I would rather be hated by everyone than like myself.
I don't apologize. In the end, I don't care whether you love me or you hate me, just as long as I win.
You are not ready.
I know.
Like everyone else, you want to learn the way to win, but never to accept the way to lose. To accept defeat, to learn to die is to be liberated from it. So when tomorrow comes, you must free your ambitious mind and learn the art of dying.
Oh, you think darkness is your ally? You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it, molded by it. I didn't see the light until I was already a man. By then it was nothing to me but blinding. The shadows betray you because they belong to me.
Who are you?
It doesn't matter who we are. What matters is our plan.
I'd say one of the strongest mental frames that has gotten me through my hardest times is thinking this will be the story that I will one day tell. And that means the harder it is, the bigger the dragon, the more epic the story, and by consequence, the more epic the hero. If you think about the difference between winners and losers, winners define themselves by what they made happen, and losers define themselves by what happened to them.
This is my life, man. Do you know how hard I worked to get here?
Man, and most people struggle their whole life to find out who they are. Struggle their whole life to find out what defines them, what they actually enjoy and what they don't.
You start putting yourself in situations that suck, you'll find yourself.
But I'll do it perfectly or I don't do it.
Mike, are you familiar with the saying, perfect is the enemy of good?
Well, good enough is the enemy of humanity.
Do what no one else does. Run 3 o'clock in the morning because no one else is running 3 o'clock in the morning. If they're training 3 hours, you train 4 hours. You train when the gym is closed. You know, whenever the gym is closed and you already trained, you train again. You know, you have to do what no one else is doing. You know, when they're sleeping, you're running, you're working out.
So don't wait. Don't be afraid. If you're listening to this out there, don't be afraid. Just go. A hero dies once, a coward dies 1,000 times. Because this will be on your mind. I should go every day. You're thinking about this thing. Every day you feel this thing in your side, your neck, your back. I don't know if I should go. I don't want to go. No, it'll be okay. Oh, it comes and goes. Go.
People won't want to hear this, but what you avoid controls you. If you avoid tough conversations, your relationships suffer. If you avoid risk, your business will suffer. If you avoid failure, your growth will suffer. If you think having uncomfortable conversations is hard, wait until you see the result of not having uncomfortable conversations. Much harder. At least for me, I just try and face the thing that I'm avoiding and constantly ask myself, like, what is that thing that I'm trying not to look at? And then force myself to stare at it, because usually the thing that scares you the most is the thing that you need most to face to move forward.
There's certain good things about being alone. You have time to do the things you want to do, like study and plan, but you can't have dinners like this or be physical with a person, outside of flirtationship.
There's times where you're gonna have to do it alone. There's not gonna be any team support. There's not gonna be any family support. There's not gonna be any friend support. There's gonna be times where you've got to go and do it yourself, and you gotta do it alone. And those are the times that make a difference. Those are the times that count. Those are the times where you have to dig deep yourself to get the job done. And if you can make that happen, you will win.
when you start believing what other people say about you, you become a shell of yourself. You become somebody that's different, and you're trying to be perfect for others that don't really give a about whether or not you breathe another day. They like, man, you just another one that we could just troll or hate on. So I had to make the shift to be able to stand on my own 10 toes and be able to be a man out here.
Wherever, you know what I mean? So that's why I like to be isolated, and it has helped me coming out here and being locked in an apartment on my own, building back up my leg, going from rehab to home to rehab to home, because there was no outsiders. It was isolation, it was visualization, it was motivation, and it was dedication. There was nothing else going on in my life, you know what I mean? To get to the pinnacle, it needs to be like that. It needs to be no outsiders. It needs to be, you need to have your team and your focus, and that's it. I don't need friends that aren't involved in this game, or that aren't on the same path, you know what I mean? Because it's just, it doesn't make sense.
There was a kid who everyone underestimated. Too small, too quiet, too ordinary. But every day while they laughed, he worked. In the gym, in the books, in the shadows. He knew one truth. Effort beats talent when talent doesn't try. Years later, they asked him how he did it, and he just smiled, because they never saw the grind. It's the quiet hustle that makes the loudest impact. How loud do you want your success to be?
Go to a dark place in your mind and figure out what the you want to be. Find your purpose, and then you'll find the courage to start that journey.
Champions, let success be formed. If you have to talk about the success guys, you cheapen the accomplishment altogether. The true champions are quiet. The critics of life, these parasite society, has never seen the crowd from the field's view. They've also never taken a breath of air that's mixed with anxiety and pressure. They know no victory nor defeat, because they never put themselves at risk. They never shown up. They've never walked their talk. So therefore, we tell them to go fuck themselves in their opinion. We don't care what they fucking say. All we care about is people that can perform. And those guys and girls, they don't need to talk.
Last night, I had a dream. When I got to Africa, I had one hell of a rumble. I had to beat Tarzan's behind first for claiming to be the king in the jungle. For this fight, I've wrestled with alligators. I've tussled with a whale. I done handcuffed lightning and put thunder in jail. You know I'm bad. I have murdered a rock. I injured a stone, and I hospitalized a brick. I'm so bad I make medicine sick.
Fear is universal. I think the only way to approach fear is you got to go right at it. The best way to fight the demons that chase you in the night is to stop and turn around. Turn around. Face them. Man up.
The story continues. The story continues. So if you fail on Monday, the only way it's a failure on Monday is if you decide to not progress from that, right? So to me, that's why failure is not existent. Because, you know, if I fail today, okay, I'm gonna learn something from that failure and I'm gonna try again on Tuesday.
What will you do?
Rebuild it. Just the way it was, brick for brick.
The superpower of learning to be alone and enjoying it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think it's critical, and I do think that these times where you just think about things, just be alone and think about things, are so rare these days. And I think during those rare times is when you really get to understand what you actually believe or don't believe.
You have to sacrifice who you are today for who you want to become tomorrow. The Bible, there's a verse in the Bible that says, when I became a man, I put away childish things. You can't become the best version of yourself unless you're willing to neglect who you are today. The bad habits, the bad friendships, bad relationships, the bad ideas, the bad mindset. Because if you want to become a millionaire, if you want to become a person that's successful, if you want to develop a better physique, it will require sacrifice. And if you want to get to the next level, it'll cost you. There is a price to success. It hurts. Like, you've had to neglect friends. You've had to neglect certain comments from family members. You've had to work overnight for years and years, and nobody's gonna see that. Yeah. Nobody, but that's the price. And you will either live the price with two aspects, because you're gonna pay the price regardless of life. You will pay the price of discipline and hard work, or you will pay the price of regret. And And the last thing I want to live is a life of regret. When I'm sitting on my deathbed by myself, my girl won't be there, you won't be there, it'll just be me, myself, and I will have to live and deal with the consequences and the pain of, did I pursue my fullest potential, or did I settle for average and mediocre because I wasn't able to sacrifice the current version of myself for who I was able to become?
It's funny, man. People want to know how I'm always motivated. It's the unseen work. I'm out running at 2 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning, in the gym, long sessions by myself. That's real.
The Lonely Chapter describes a time in which you're growing, you're changing as a person, and you're now so different that you can no longer resonate with your old set of friends, but you're not sufficiently developed that you've got the new set of friends that you're going to grow into. The desire to sort of regress back to where you were is always going to be there, and you're going to have uncertainty. There's not even the promise of glory or success or triumph when you get through the other side. What am I pushing toward? You know, the Rocky cutscene lasts for 90 seconds in the movie, but it can last for 5 years in your life. And you have no idea whether or not it's even going to work. And that's the bit that always got to me. The bit that always got to me was I didn't even know if there was going to be any glory on the other side.
You get to face a lot of shit, young man. You got a long journey ahead of you, because you're going to find out that while your dad did a lot of shit to you, you're going to have to make it on your own.
My first 9 businesses f***ing failed.
As in, the first one, I spent time on it, it failed.
Second one, this one will be different, f***ing failed.
And then the third one, this one, failed. And then 6 more after that.
I'm just painting this picture because, like, it's painful as shit, because the whole time everyone is telling you, I told you so, and they're right. Today. But not forever.
The world belongs to optimists, because if you're going to do anything big, you have to believe that it can happen. Otherwise, it never will. Sean Puri says the cynics get to be right and the optimists get to be rich. 99% right and 100% wrong. They're right 99% of the time, but they're wrong 100% because the only thing that matters is the big one at the end.
I'm going to say something to you. You're smart, you're talented, you know a few things, but talent means nothing in this game if you don't make the right choices. There's plenty of talented people out there who never see the light of day anymore. Last thing, takes discipline. Because this whole game is one big long shot. And if you don't have the discipline to stay away from the flyers or from the gambles or whatever else you want to call a stupid move, then my friend, I'm afraid to say one day you will go down. It's inevitable. You want my advice? Make a list of everything you want now, and then plan on spending the next 25 years of your life getting it, slowly, piece by piece.
The more time you spend alone with yourself, the more time that you will be able to understand who you are. When I mean understand who you are, I'm talking about without any outside interference, without any friends, without any peer pressure of wanting to be like someone else. The more time you spend alone, you're going to figure out, okay, what your purpose is. And I say that because of this. God will talk to you. You start seeking in those moments of not having any outside distractions. What happens is things become clear. Clarity sets in. And you're able to make decisions not based on what you saw that day or what you heard that day or what that person may have said to you. You're able to make decisions based on how you feel internally.
What are you running from? He beat you, didn't he? Stop running from it. Let that pain become your inspiration, and then you'll have something that people can believe in.
So a lot of people ask me what it's like to live with David, and I figured I had the perfect opportunity tonight to just give a little bit of insight. So today, just randomly, David says after we come home from the gym that he was going to go on a 100-mile ruck tonight. So unplanned, just spur of the moment. We're out here. We left just about 12 and a half hours ago, or just over 12. Oh God, that's blurry. 12:43 a.m. It's 38 degrees. And he's about 60 or 60 some miles in at this point. I haven't spoken to him in a few hours other than to give him my socks because it's cold and he has Raynaud's, so he's wearing them as his gloves. And, you know, it's lonely as hell. No one's out here. It's just me. No one would even know he's doing this if I wasn't recording this video. And that's so much of his life. Just all of the unseen work that goes into being David. I don't think people can even imagine the discipline and the hours spent alone just grinding. And the other thing people can't imagine is the pain and discomfort that goes into it. You know, every day when he starts running, it's like the first few miles, he's just hobbling along. And, you know, I know that he's just 3 months post-surgery. 3.5 months ago, I wrote to his surgeon. It was end of September, and I said, you know, David was going to come in for surgery, and he said, well, I just hope he's not jumping out of planes. Well, he sure was. He was in British Columbia jumping out of planes.
There's a process to all this stuff, man. The process starts with, you gotta shut off technology. You gotta go here. I call it the dark room, where you're alone. No cell phones, no music, no TVs, no computers. You by yourself. Very few people want to be alone anymore. They want to be around noise and people, and they have to, you can't think. Be alone, go to that dark space. In that dark space, shut life off for a little bit. Go to a dark place in your mind and figure out what the f you want to be. You don't know what you don't want, because you don't know what you want to be because you haven't spent time, real time with yourself. Spend time with yourself. Trust me. And once you find that passion and that purpose, your goals, your purpose, everything will just start lining up. And then you'll find the courage to start that journey from that 20 to 100.
I think intellect not only demands solitude, but it feeds on it. I think you are the product of who you are when no one is watching, essentially.
You know, it's interesting. A lot of people are afraid of being alone because they think that being alone means that you're lonely. I was walking down the streets here in London, and there was a homeless man. It said, hungry and lonely. And I'm like, you know, sometimes, you know, I slept in my car, but I never felt lonely. I was with myself because I developed a relationship with myself. So solitude is extremely important because most people don't create the time, the space in order to converse with themselves, in order to think, in order to get to know who they are. Know thyself. Why? Because if you know yourself, you know your tendencies, you know your habits, you know your behaviors, you know what you're good at, you're bad at, what's your weakness, what's your strength. You can develop a strategy, a plan to build yourself up. If you don't know who you are, you don't know where you're going, you're going to end up in limbo. Solitude is key because it creates the silence and the space in order for you to grow. And in the darkness, putting in the work, in the quiet hours, that's where winning is made.
If I'm running on a treadmill and I get to mile 9 and I get complete cramp in one of my legs, and I know I've told myself I'm going to run 10 kilometers today, he goes, I will have to limp the last mile, even if no one's watching, because I can't let the demons in. And if I let the demons in, they'll show up in the 11th round of a championship fight when there's 50,000 people watching me in the audience. And I know deep in my self story that I'm the type of person that quits when things get hard because I got off that treadmill at mile 9 when no one was watching. It would modify my self story. The commitments we keep to ourselves and what we do when no one's watching is the most persuasive evidence that governs everything we then do every day thereafter.
That's the thing about being alone. It's not that you feel like you don't have anybody. It's like you feel like nobody has you. And man, and I know especially when we're young, that's so, we can't even put it into words, but we can feel that. And I remember a lot as a child feeling that way. You know, just feeling like nobody has me.
This workout here is systematically designed for growth. That's all it's about. But in order to find that growth, you must first feel the pain. This workout here at Miami Fitness, late at night, man, Friday night, everyone's out partying. I love that, man. They're all out there getting wasted, man. I'm in here getting stronger for it. Then get a good night's sleep with rest and nutrition. I'm gonna wake up, they're gonna be hungover. I'm gonna wake up kicking ass before they even know what hit them. Choices we make, guys, that leads to differential being remembered and forgotten. Miami Fitness, late at night. Time to get ahead.
It's like I say, we live in an external world. Everything is you gotta see it, touch it, it's external. If you can for the rest of your life live inside of yourself, stop listening to people who are calling you nigger. Everything that is makes no sense. All these insecure people putting their insecurities on you, you gotta flush it out. You gotta just be whoever the hell God or whatever the hell you believe in. If you believe in nothing but yourself, I don't care what it is. You gotta take everything and throw it away. You have to believe in one thing, and that is yourself. And I'm not saying don't believe in God or what you believe in, but right now, for you to find greatness in yourself, you're not gonna find it by looking in a book or by even hearing me. I may give you the spark, but you've got to go inside yourself to find it. And that means you gotta be quiet. Shut the fuck up, go in a room, stop talking, search your soul, search your mind, search your abilities, and you'll find it. But if you're not looking for it, you won't find it. So you gotta go start your journey. And the journey starts with you finding, why the hell am I here on this planet Earth? Why am I here? And if you don't know that, you will live the rest of your life searching, always asking the question, why?
Just stay focused, you understand? You know what I'm saying? Keep your mind straight on the prize. Don't let nothing get in between. You know what I'm saying? You gotta focus up, fully focused. You gotta be fully focused. You can't let shit in between the way you and your goal. You gotta just do it. You gotta just do it.
What kind of seed is in you? See, I believe part of our responsibility in life is to find out who we are, to discover ourselves. First off, we need to respect our nature. We need to realize we are part of a continuing chain that carries a legacy and a responsibility. And if that's the case, then we need to recognize that we were not biological coincidences. And I believe you were intentionally created for a myriad of purposes. There are many things we can do with our lives. And I think it's our job to find out what those things are and to do them as well as we possibly can.
We all have these feelings in our bodies, in our minds, in our souls. I act on mine. A lot of us who are afraid of something, we allow our minds to choose the path of least resistance, so we go a different route. When I'm afraid of something, it's telling me you must conquer that. You must do that.
Yeah.
You have to go that way. And most of us don't understand that mentality. We go left and we wonder why we haven't fulfilled something in our lives. It's because we continue to take the journey that is mapped out.
You don't feel as good as you can because you're not working as hard as you know you can. A focused fool can accomplish more than a distracted genius. You must first become consistent before you can become exceptional. The fastest growth periods are often the most miserable. If you want progress, get used to pain.
Listen, getting successful, whatever you consider successful, if it's rich, whatever, it's not a magic trick. It's not God picks certain people he'll make rich and certain people he don't. He gives all of us as his children the power of choice. You have a say-so in that. You can decide to be rich, and with God's help, it's highly doable. But you first have to think it.
And when you understand it and you really are aware of it, you're already different. You're already different. People only fail because they get caught up into what winning was. You're supposed to fail at some point in time. You're supposed to get knocked down a couple times. You're supposed to lose. That's how you learn.
When at the right time, consistency. But people don't understand that like slow motion is better than like no motion. Like slow progress is way better than just not having nothing. And I feel like today's like right now, people aren't patient. Like I swear to God, I just feel like people are not patient with the blow up. I feel like people are just trying to rush and trying to hurry up and do this and this, knowing that that's gonna take years. You have to wait. And I just say play the back until it's time to play the front. And when it's your time to play the front, you go full throttle. Like today, like now is the time.
I tell the same thing to anybody, no matter what your field is. If you really want it that bad, you'll make it happen. You know, if you could put aside the distractions of Instagram, TV, some charity event that there's gonna be girls there, and you're like, no, I'm gonna go to sleep early today, wake up and do what I gotta do. It just plans out over a period of time, I think. Comfortable with being uncomfortable. So you gotta learn to be an animal.
The most important conversation you will ever have in your life is the one you have with yourself. You wake up with it, You walk around with it, you go to bed with it, eventually you're gonna act on it. Whether you're good or bad, you have to face that in that dark room. In that dark room is who you are. But in that dark room is where you have to create another human being that walks out of that dark room to face who you are. That's the only way you're gonna get over all those things. You have to create someone else. Not like you have two different personalities, it is you. But you have to find strength. And that visualization of almost me cracking out Goggins, like almost like that Superman cape, like I'm coming out a different person, a person that doesn't give a fuck about anything, who doesn't care about being judged, who knows I'm weak, who knows I'm afraid, who says, whatever you think about me, take it, whatever, I'm here. That's Goggins. In the dark room, you face yourself, you realize you want to be better, you realize you don't want to be this weak, insecure person in the world who has all these problems that we all have. We all have. Social media is a great platform to tell you who we want to be, not who we are. So that's where that dark room is.
The only question is, are you going to be at the top of your field, or you're still going to be down there with the mediocre 80%? And the wonderful thing is, this is nobody's better than you, and nobody's smarter than you. If anybody else is at the top of their field, it means that you can be at the top of your field.
I don't know how to start improving my life. Someone might say that. Then I would say, well, you're not aiming low enough. There's something you could do that you are regarding as trivial, that you could do, that you would do, that would result in an actual improvement. But it's not a big enough improvement for you, so you won't lower yourself enough to take the opportunity.
Sally calls me rhino skin. You can't hurt my fucking feelings. Because growing up in the hood, my dad told me, he says, it's not what they say to you, Dan, it's how you interpret the words. And it stuck. Now, it used to be sticks and stones. Remember I said sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can never hurt me? It's just the opposite now.
Remember, we work hard to become our own boss so we can do what we want to do. The ultimate goal is to go to sleep when you want to and wake up when you want to. See, when you don't wake up when you want to, then guess what? Somebody's controlling you. And I don't want to be controlled. But I want to be my own boss. That's why I paid $750,000 to get out my contract. And in 3 fights, I made $750 million.
When you really sit back at your life and you're in that dark room and you're looking at where you started from, and you tell yourself, God, dog, man, my mom is this way, my stepdad got murdered, my dad beat the shit out of me, I can't read and write to save my fucking soul, I've lied about it to everybody, I've cheated on all these tests. My God, man. And then you put a goal in your mind. How are you gonna feel, man, when you accomplish this goal coming from that shit? Coming from the fucking hell you came from. A lot of people start from a good starting point. They have a good foundation. What if you can surpass all of these motherfuckers? What if everybody who was fucking way up here started up here, and you started with no legs. You had to grow fucking legs to even start walking, and then crawling, and then running, and then you start passing people with all this given to them. I had to use all this negative shit